In the backyard of a house just outside of New Orleans, Maria Payne volunteers her time lining wooden boxes with fabric that comes from donated wedding dresses.
My daughter-in-law went into labor, and then her supervisor called me and told me that she was being sent to the hospital by ambulance because she had passed out. And later on, she called me crying, and she said, my baby is dead. I said, what do you mean? Well, they can't get a heartbeat on her. She's gone. Sadly, Skylar passed away in her mom's womb. When I got there, they handed the baby over to me. And so I held her for like 15, 20 minutes. We didn't have any plans for funeral. We didn't have anything. The only money I had at that time was when I went to Kmart and returned the crib. We didn't have means for a burial. Thinking about donating her body to the hospital, because the hospital offered that they would take it. But like I explained to my son, I said, no, we're not gonna do that. He said, well, Mama, we don't have any money. I said, I understand, but something is gonna happen. We're gonna, it's gonna happen. She's gotta go like where she is, a little queen. The next day, I came to work. I was like lost for words.
Maria works full-time for Mr. Don Sampe.
She was beside herself, crying.
And I asked him, I said, Mr. Don, do you think that you can build a casket for me? He looked at me and said, Maria, I don't think so. I don't know about that. We're talking about wood.
Maria, I really don't know anything about woodworking.
I said, I've seen you work, and I've got a feeling that you could do it.
The good Lord put into me, say yes. So I said yes. I didn't have enough tools to cut wood, much less knowing how to cut a good angle. Did cut one. It looked awful.
I had faith in him.
For assistance, I called guys that I was in a prayer group, and they came on board.
The men from Don's prayer group, the Monday Night Disciples, successfully assembled a respectable casket, secured a burial site, and organized a proper funeral.
They were there for me. I will never forget that.
After the funeral, an unsettling thought nagged at Don. It was the sad reality that Maria's situation was not unique.
Somebody has to take care of these babies. If babies are left unclaimed, they wind up in medical waste. We wasn't considering about all the other babies that we wasn't going after to try to assist. And that's what All God's Babies came out. And that's when the organization was founded.
Don and his friends learned until they perfected the craft of making small caskets for children ranging from premature until the age of 2.
We have enough knowledge and experience in making the caskets. We can turn a casket around in 1.5 days.
Les Medere joined the organization and has turned his garage into a wood shop.
It's something I thought I could do. I like working with my hands. Maybe it was the Holy Spirit talking to me in my ear saying, you need to get involved in this.
Everyone that built these caskets are volunteers, and all of the shops are in their backyards. You know, it's not a commercial buildings or anything like that. We now have 10 shops operating and 17 guys that work on the caskets.
As word spread, lumber yards began donating wood, and women began donating wedding dresses for lining the caskets.
The ones that are pure white are cut into pieces. We have some ladies that just do a beautiful job.
Those babies are pure. They need to be treated accordingly. That's why everything in the caskets are pure white. That's why the wood that we have is the best wood possible. Cypress, mahogany. We want to give the babies the best because they are the best.
This is kind of the end result. And then the crosses are cut into the tops. And then once we have the name of the child, the name is etched into the wood.
2 classroom spaces were donated by Our Lady of Divine Providence Church in Metairie, Louisiana, to store construction materials for the caskets, which are provided to anyone in need, regardless of a person's financial status or religious affiliation. All God's Babies also purchased a mausoleum to serve for any family that cannot afford its own burial spot.
We provide a casket and a place to bury that baby.
We have an organization, Knights on Bikes, that help us transport these little caskets. They'll strap this onto the back of their motorcycle and take it wherever it needs to go. We have We've gotten calls from Houston to Mobile. Somebody will transport it to the state line, and somebody there will pick it up from there. And we kind of have a network now where we could actually send these anywhere around the country.
The organization does not accept payment from any of the families they serve, but they do ask for one thing:
Prayer. That's all we ask for. Prayer for this ministry to proceed without obstacles, and that we can help more babies.
At the end of 2024, All God's Babies is reaching a milestone of having provided its 500th casket.
I'm doing something that's constructive, something that's helping others. At the end of the day, it's very fulfilling. Several of the local hospitals are now finding out what we're doing when the need arises. If somebody goes into the hospital and has a miscarriage or loses the baby, they're given options, because we as Catholics believe that every child, whether born or unborn, has a soul and should be buried in a Christian way.
That's why, 1 decade after the death of her granddaughter, Skylar, Maria still volunteers her time lining caskets.
That was our call, to help other families, because they probably could be in the same predicament that we were at once. We want to keep helping these babies. That's the best thing, to bury a baby, have a casket, have a funeral.
It would be nice 5 years from now if there are shops in Baton Rouge and Alexandria and Shreveport, all over the state and possibly further.
We're asking for volunteers.
If you are in need of a casket for a small child, or if you'd like to get involved with the organization, you can do so by visiting allgodsbabies.org.
Just imagine when you die and you go to heaven, and you got all these babies welcoming you to heaven because we helped them.